My dear friends, what if I told you that abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you attract? That wealth isn't only about hard work, but about aligning your heart with the divine rhythm already surrounding you. There is a psalm in Scripture that carries this magnetic pull, a spiritual force that draws provision, favor, and opportunity straight toward your life. That psalm is Psalm 23. Most people read it for comfort, but few recognize the supernatural principle hidden inside. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In just one line, David reveals a mindset that breaks financial fear and unlocks divine supply. When you declare, I shall not want, you are shifting your spirit from scarcity to abundance, from anxiety to expectation, from survival to overflow. This psalm turns your thoughts into a magnet, attracting ideas, opening doors, and pulling resources toward your purpose. When you speak it with faith, you are declaring that lack has no authority over your life. Poverty has no seat at your table, and fear has no voice in your decisions. Today, let Psalm 23 be more than a prayer. Let it be your wealth magnet, your declaration of divine provision, and your doorway into unstoppable abundance. The mindset of abundance begins with the simple but powerful declaration, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. These words are not just poetry from an ancient king. They are a spiritual principle that rewires the way you think, believe, and react to the challenges of life. When David wrote this psalm, he wasn't sitting on a throne surrounded by wealth. He was a shepherd boy who understood the nature of trust. He understood what it meant for sheep to rely completely on their shepherd for food, protection, direction, and safety. By calling God his shepherd, he was declaring total dependence, total trust, and total alignment with a higher source of provision. When you say, I shall not want, you are not saying you have everything at this moment. You are saying that because God is leading you, lack cannot control you. You are refusing to let scarcity dictate your decisions, your emotions, or your future. Most people live with a fear-based mindset, always worried about bills, uncertainty, or missed opportunities. But when you embrace the truth of Psalm 23, you shift into a place where you expect God to supply what you need, sometimes through unexpected ways, unexpected people, and unexpected timing. This mindset becomes the foundation of abundance. It frees you from worrying about competition, because you understand that what God has for you cannot be taken by anyone else. It frees you from jealousy, because you trust that your portion is secure. It frees you from stress, because you believe you are guided by a shepherd who sees farther than you can and prepares blessings before you even arrive. This is not passive thinking, it is powerful faith thinking. It trains your mind to look for opportunities instead of problems, to recognize blessings instead of obstacles, and to see possibilities instead of limits. When you internalize, I shall not want, you begin to walk with confidence, speak with boldness, and act with clarity. You stop approaching life with desperation and start approaching it with expectation. You start expecting doors to open, expecting ideas to flow, expecting favor to surround you. This expectation itself becomes a magnet for abundance, because the opportunities that are already around you become visible when your mindset shifts. This declaration also builds resilience. Even in seasons where resources feel tight or situations feel uncertain, your spirit remains grounded. You know that the shepherd who provides today will provide tomorrow. This keeps you calm in moments that would have overwhelmed you before. It protects your peace, sharpens your decisions, and strengthens your faith. True abundance doesn't begin with money. It begins with belief. Belief that your life is being guided. Belief that you are not abandoned. Belief that God is not only aware of your needs, but preparing to meet them. When this truth becomes your foundation, you walk into every day with the confidence of someone who is spiritually backed, divinely supplied, and destined for increase. That is the mindset of abundance. And it all begins with the words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Psalm 23 transforms fear of lack into faith for supernatural provision because it speaks directly to the deepest human anxieties. The fear of not having enough, of failing, of being unprepared, of being left alone in times of need. Every line of the psalm reprograms this fear by reminding the soul that provision does not come merely from effort, economy, or circumstances. It comes from a divine source that does not run out. When you meditate on this psalm, you are not just reading words, you are allowing God's voice to overwrite the internal noise of insecurity and fear. This shift from fear to faith is not sudden, but with repetition and belief, it becomes a new spiritual and emotional reality. Most people live their lives afraid of what tomorrow may bring. Financial pressure, unexpected problems, and past disappointments create a mindset of scarcity. This fear quietly influences decisions, relationships, risk-taking, and even prayer. But Psalm 23 stands like a spiritual anchor, pulling you back into a place of confidence and security. When David declares, "He makes me lie down in green pastures," he is painting a picture of rest, not worry. Green pastures represent abundance, nourishment, and safety. To lie down means your soul is calm because it trusts the provider. Fear cannot survive in a heart that is resting. Then the psalm says, "He leads me beside still waters." Still waters symbolize peace and clarity. Two things fear steals from you. Fear clouds judgment, makes you frantic, and pushes you toward impulsive decisions. But when God leads you, you move with clarity and purpose. You recognize opportunities you would have missed in panic. You hear guidance you couldn't hear in noise. You see options fear never allowed you to consider. The next line, "He restores my soul," is one of the most powerful antidotes to financial anxiety. Many people are not failing financially because of a lack of opportunity, but because of emotional exhaustion, mental stress, or internal wounds. Restoration means God heals the parts of you that fear has damaged. Your confidence, your faith, your courage, your vision. When your soul is restored, your decisions improve, your creativity flows, and your ability to recognize doors increases. Restoration creates room for abundance. The psalm continues, "He leads me in paths of righteousness." Righteous paths are not only moral paths, they are wise paths, strategic paths, God-ordained paths that lead to blessing and open doors. Fear blinds you to these paths, but faith makes them clear. God's guidance positions you in the right places with the right people at the right time. Even the famous line, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil," teaches a profound truth. Abundance does not mean the absence of challenges. It means the absence of fear in challenges. You walk through the valley, not stay in it. Fear imagines permanent loss. Faith sees temporary testing. Fear paralyzes. Faith keeps moving. The psalm ends with overflowing imagery. "My cup runs over." This is the final replacement of fear with faith. The belief that God provides not barely enough, but abundantly more. When you truly absorb Psalm 23, your fear of lack dissolves and is replaced with a quiet, unshakable confidence that supernatural provision is already on its way. Speaking the psalm daily shifts your spirit from scarcity to overflow because repetition plants truth deep into the subconscious, where beliefs are formed and actions are shaped. Most people underestimate how powerful spoken words are, especially when those words come from Scripture. Psalm 23 is not simply meant to be read. It is meant to be declared, confessed, and spoken until it becomes part of your inner identity. When you speak it daily, you are not just repeating a verse. You are training your mind, strengthening your spirit, and aligning your emotions with the reality of God's abundance. Scarcity is not only a financial condition, it is a mindset formed by fear, past failures, and negative experiences. It whispers that resources are limited, opportunities are rare, and blessings are for others, but not for you. Scarcity shrinks your dreams, lowers your expectations, and makes you settle for less than what God designed for your life. But when you speak Psalm 23 day after day, those internal walls begin to break. The declaration, "I shall not want," becomes a hammer striking the chains of lack thinking. He leads me, He restores me, and my cup runs over. Become living truths that slowly erase old fears. Daily speaking also builds spiritual momentum. Faith does not grow in silence, it grows in confession. Every time you speak Psalm 23, you are affirming that God is guiding you, providing for you, and preparing blessings you cannot yet see. This practice shifts your emotional atmosphere. Worry loses strength, confidence rises. Ideas flow more easily. You begin to wake up expecting good things instead of bracing for problems. This expectation is a magnet for opportunities because your spirit becomes open, alert, and ready to receive. When your spirit shifts from scarcity to overflow, your behavior changes naturally. You make decisions with courage instead of hesitation. You move toward opportunities instead of avoiding them. You speak with boldness instead of insecurity. You treat challenges as temporary instead of impossible. These changes attract favor, relationships, and financial breakthroughs, because abundance always follows the direction of faith-filled action. Speaking Psalm 23 daily also reprograms how you see God. Many people believe God can provide, but they don't truly believe He will provide for them. The more you speak the psalm, the more personal it becomes. My shepherd, my cup, or my head, and my life shift from theory to experience. You begin to understand that God's provision is not random, it is intentional, not accidental, but guaranteed by His character. Most importantly, daily declaration builds inner overflow. Before money comes, overflow must first enter the heart. Peace becomes your foundation. Gratitude becomes your attitude. Expectation becomes your normal state. This inner overflow creates outer overflow. Opportunities begin to feel drawn to you. Ideas come with clarity. People respond to your confidence. Doors open that were once shut. By speaking Psalm 23 daily, you aren't chasing abundance. You're attracting it. Your spirit moves from fear into faith, from lack into confidence, from scarcity into a life of supernatural overflow. Divine guidance opens doors to opportunities money cannot buy, because when God leads you, He positions you in places your own strength could never take you. Many people try to build success purely through effort, strategy, or connections, but without guidance, even the brightest minds can end up in the wrong rooms with the wrong people, investing energy into the wrong paths. Psalm 23 reminds us that God is not just a provider. He is a shepherd who guides, directs, and aligns us with blessings prepared long before we ever see them. When you allow divine guidance to lead your steps, you begin to walk into opportunities that seem almost impossible, almost too perfectly timed, almost supernatural in how they unfold. Guidance is one of the greatest forms of provision. One wrong decision can cost years of progress, but one right decision can change your entire life. God's guidance protects you from costly mistakes, wasted time, and deceptive opportunities that look good on the outside, but lead to emptiness on the inside. He leads me in paths of righteousness means God directs you toward decisions that produce fruit, growth, and favor. Righteous paths are not just morally right, they are strategically right. They are paths where blessing flows, where opportunities multiply, where doors open before you knock. When God guides you, He brings you into relationships that uplift you, environments that grow you, and circles that match your purpose. Money cannot buy favor, divine timing, or the right connection that shifts your destiny. Only guidance can bring those things. Many people chase opportunities, but when you follow God's lead, opportunities begin to chase you. The right clients appear, the right mentor shows up, the right idea comes, the right timing aligns. It feels effortless not because life is easy, but because you are being guided. Divine guidance also gives you clarity. Clarity itself is a form of wealth. When you know what to do, where to go, and what to avoid, you function with strength and confidence. Confusion drains energy, delays progress, and opens the door to fear. But when your shepherd leads you, the confusion settles, the path becomes visible, and decisions become easier. You begin recognizing doors you once ignored. You begin sensing danger you once walked into. You begin discerning which opportunities are from God and which are distractions. Guidance also gives you boldness. When you know God is leading you, you stop second guessing yourself. You walk through doors with authority because you know you were placed there by divine intention. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. People notice this confidence, and it attracts respect, trust, and partnerships. What money cannot buy, timing, favor, wisdom, alignment, divine guidance provides freely. With God's leadership, you are not hustling blindly, you are moving purposefully. You are not guessing, you are being shown. You are not forcing doors, you are entering doors prepared for you. Divine guidance is the key that opens opportunities beyond your imagination, placing you exactly where abundance is waiting. Trusting God's supply attracts ideas, connections, and resources like a magnet, because trust shifts your internal atmosphere from fear to faith, and faith is the environment where creativity, favor, and divine provision grow naturally. When you trust God as your provider, you stop living in survival mode. Survival mode shuts down imagination, blocks inspiration, and limits your vision. But when you enter a mindset of trust, something powerful happens inside you. Your mind opens, your spirit relaxes, and you become receptive to the ideas and opportunities God has been trying to send your way. Trust is a signal to heaven. It is a declaration that you are ready to receive. Many people pray for blessings, but their hearts are too fearful to recognize or accept them. Trust removes that blockage. It positions you to hear God's whispers, an idea in your mind, a solution during quiet moments, a new direction that suddenly makes sense. Ideas are one of God's greatest forms of provision, because one inspired idea can change your financial future, your career, or your business. Trust makes you fertile ground for these ideas to take root. When you trust God's supply, you also become more attractive to the right people. Confidence draws people, anxiety repels them. People naturally want to work with support and invest in someone who carries a calm assurance. Trust produces this assurance. It makes you speak differently. It makes you carry yourself with a quiet strength. It makes your decisions more stable and your actions more decisive. This energy pulls mentors, partners, clients, and supporters towards you. What once seemed impossible suddenly becomes accessible because trust opened the door for relationships that move your life forward. Trust also creates spiritual alignment. When your heart trusts, your actions follow. You begin to step into opportunities you once feared. You take risks with wisdom instead of hesitation. You see open doors instead of obstacles. This alignment positions you in the right places at the right times, allowing divine appointments to occur. A single conversation, a chance meeting, an unexpected invitation. These are the kinds of moments trust attracts. Resources also flow toward trust. When you truly believe God will supply, you stop clinging tightly to what you have. You make wiser investments. You give with generosity. You operate with a spirit of abundance rather than scarcity. This openness creates space for God to bring increase. Scarcity closes your hand. Trust opens it. And when your hand is open, both giving and receiving become possible. Trust is a spiritual magnet because it reflects your belief in God's character. When you trust His supply, heaven responds. Favor increases. Creativity deepens. Solutions become clearer. People begin to recognize something different about you. You move with peace in a world full of panic. You see possibilities others overlook. This shift transforms your entire life from the inside out. Trusting God's supply doesn't just bring money, it attracts the flow that creates money. Ideas, connections, opportunities, wisdom, and divine timing. It is this flow that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers and scarcity thinkers into abundance carriers. Living in Psalm 23 positions you for continuous favor and unstoppable abundance, because the psalm is not only a prayer, it is a lifestyle, a spiritual posture that shapes your daily mindset, choices, emotions, and expectations. When you live inside the truth of this psalm, you carry an atmosphere of confidence that God is actively working in your life. Favor is not something you chase, it becomes something that surrounds you. Abundance is not something you struggle for, it becomes a natural result of walking with the shepherd who provides, leads, restores, and protects. Living in Psalm 23 means waking up each morning with the awareness that you are not alone. The Lord is my shepherd is not a temporary comfort, it is your identity. You move through life knowing you are guided by someone wiser than you, stronger than you, and more loving than you can imagine. This awareness removes the stress and panic that often block blessings. When fear leaves your heart, favor finds room to enter. When anxiety loosens its grip, abundance flows more freely. Fear constricts, faith expands. Favor flows where faith lives. This lifestyle also shapes your decisions. You begin to make choices not out of desperation, but out of wisdom. You choose peace over pressure, patience over panic, clarity over confusion. These wise decisions naturally position you in places where favor can reach you. Many people sabotage their blessings because they make choices while stressed or fearful. But when you live in Psalm 23, your soul is restored. Your mind is clear and your steps are steady. God's paths of righteousness become visible, and walking in them leads directly to opportunity and increase. Living in Psalm 23 also changes your energy. Your presence becomes peaceful, confident, and grounded. People can feel when someone is connected to something greater than themselves. This presence attracts trust, respect, and open doors. Employers notice it. Clients notice it. You become the kind of person others want to support, follow, or partner with because your spirit carries stability and strength. Favor often arrives through people, and people are naturally drawn to someone who carries God's peace. Living in the psalm means embracing divine timing. He prepares a table before me, reveals that some blessings require preparation. Living in Psalm 23 teaches you patience, not passive waiting, but confident expectation. You stop forcing things and start flowing with God's timing. When your heart is aligned with His timing, you stop missing opportunities and start meeting them at the exact moment they are ready. This creates a cycle of continuous favor. Just as one blessing finishes, another one begins. The promise, my cup runs over, becomes more than words. It becomes your experience. Overflow means more than enough joy, enough peace, enough ideas, enough strength, enough resources. When you live in Psalm 23, abundance becomes a state of being, not just a goal. You walk through valleys with courage, through challenges with calm, and through blessings with gratitude. Living in Psalm 23 creates a life where favor is continuous, abundance is natural, and every step you take is supported, guided, and blessed by a shepherd who never fails.